and welcome back to Why So Curious, where we dive into the most curious questions, thoughts, and theories. Today, we're peeling back the layers on one of the most secretive and disturbing government programs in history, Project MKUltra. This covert CIA operation explored the limits of mind control, delving into the manipulation of human behavior through drugs, psychological experiments, and even hypnosis. And yes, we'll explore its alleged connections to one of the most infamous figures in American crime, Charles Manson. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button to keep up with all our favorite conspiracies, stories, and strange happenings from around the world. Let's unravel this together. MKUltra began in 1953, fueled by Cold War paranoia. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in an intense arms and espionage race. The CIA became convinced that mind control could be a valuable tool in this conflict, especially if it meant extracting information from prisoners or even creating sleeper agents, who could carry out missions under programmed commands. Headed by Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, MKUltra operated in total secrecy, with funding funneled through fake organizations to disguise its true purpose. The project encompassed more than 150 subprojects, testing everything from hypnosis to sensory deprivation. But its most infamous tool was LSD. LSD, or lysergic acid diethylamide, was a relatively new drug in the 1950s. The CIA saw its potential as a tool to break down the human psyche. They believed that by disrupting a person's sense of reality, they could open the door to reprogramming their thoughts. What's shocking is how this testing was conducted. Many subjects didn't even know they were part of the experiments. One notorious example is Operation Midnight Climax. In this subproject, the CIA set up safe houses in San Francisco and New York City. Sex workers, secretly on the CIA payroll, were instructed to lure unsuspecting men to these locations, where they were drugged with LSD without their consent. Hidden cameras recorded their reactions as researchers observed. It was a twisted and deeply unethical experiment that exploited vulnerable individuals. The CIA also tested LSD on its own employees, military personnel, prisoners, and mental patients, often without their knowledge. One such subject was Frank Olson, a CIA scientist who was dosed with LSD by his colleagues. Days later, Olson fell to his death from a New York City hotel window under suspicious circumstances. While the official story claimed it was suicide, many believe Olson was murdered to silence him. But MKUltra wasn't just about drugs. The program explored other disturbing avenues, such as extreme sensory deprivation, sleep deprivation, and even electroshock therapy. Psychiatrist Dr. Ewan Cameron, operating under MKUltra, subjected patients to brutal experiments in Canada. These included psychic driving, where patients were exposed to repeated messages for days while heavily drugged. Many were left with permanent psychological damage. Now, let's talk about the Charles Manson connection. Manson is infamous for orchestrating the 1969 murders of actress Sharon Tate and others in Los Angeles. But what many don't know is the alleged link between Manson and MKUltra. Before forming the Manson family, Manson spent years in prison, where he was exposed to psychological manipulation programs. During this time, he reportedly came into contact with figures associated with MKUltra-style research. Additionally, some researchers believe Manson's access to large quantities of LSD and his ability to manipulate his followers' minds were connected to techniques studied under MKUltra. One of the most compelling theories involves the Haight-Ashbury Free Medical Clinic in San Francisco. This clinic, frequented by Manson and his followers, has been linked to researchers studying the effects of drugs on the counterculture movement. Some claim this clinic acted as a front for MKUltra experiments, raising questions about whether Manson himself was an unwitting product of the program. It's important to note that while the Manson-MKUltra connection is widely debated, concrete evidence remains elusive. However, the overlap between Manson's activities, the timing of MKUltra, and the involvement of LSD in both stories keeps the theory alive. In 1965, the lid was finally blown off MKUltra. A whistleblower revealed its existence, prompting a Senate investigation known as the Church Committee. The investigation uncovered chilling details, but faced significant roadblocks because the CIA had destroyed most of the program's records in 1973. Despite this, the revelations shocked the public. The idea that the government could manipulate its own citizens for clandestine purposes was almost too horrifying to believe. And yet, the testimonies of victims and surviving documents made it undeniable. MKUltra officially ended in the early 1970s, but its legacy continues to haunt us. It has left a permanent scar on public trust in government institutions and serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and secrecy. So, what do you think about MK Ultra and its alleged connections to Charles Manson? Was Manson an unwitting pawn in a larger government experiment, or is the connection purely coincidental? And how does this story shape your view of the government's role in scientific research? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know what topic you'd like us to cover next. Whether it's another deep dive into government conspiracies, a historical mystery, or a strange phenomenon, we're always looking for the most curious questions to explore. Until next time, stay curious and keep asking questions.